A funny thing has happened on the road to the White House this year. The dreaded, serious, commercial-free, and generally dull presidential debate has popped to life, becoming a huge source of entertainment. And that's just the way CNN played it this week. CNN hyped the event for weeks, even providing a countdown clock.
All right, we are less than 36 hours to tomorrow night's CNN Republican debate.
More or less anyway, the debate got an intentionally late start, but not before the circus-like atmosphere was milked to the hilt.
To add to the festive atmosphere, one-wheeled Trump supporters rolled up.
Gone are the times when presidential debates were a broadcaster's nonprofit civic duty. Now they are loaded with commercials.
We have to take another quick break.
According to Donald Trump, CNN added an hour to the debate with just a week's notice.
That means the advertising is so dense and so deep, and they're getting tremendous numbers per minute and per half minute.
Moderator Jake Tapper made this pledge.
Candidates, I will try to make sure each of you gets your fair share of questions.
But he didn't. A third of the first hour was Trump time.
I thought I was on too much. I felt badly for everybody else.
Apparently Chris Christie and John Kasich thought so too.
I got to tell you the truth. They could care less about your careers.
If I were sitting at home and watching this back and forth, I'd be inclined to turn it off.
But viewers did not turn off. CNN set an all-time ratings record with 23 million viewers, just shy of the Fox debate numbers last month, but enough to encourage them to go on with the show. So, Marjorie, you and I and Jim were talking about this at midday, and we were saying, you know, in the old days, right up until fairly recently, it felt like, you know, like eat your peas kind of television viewing these presidential debates. And now you have the carnival atmosphere. You've got the commercial breaks. You've got the eyeballs, too. So what's wrong with that?
Well, I don't think anything is wrong with that. I think a lot of the eyeballs were there because of Donald Trump. We'll see how well the Democrats do. But I was struck because I watch CNN a lot. I know a lot of people don't. It's not very popular. But I think they're pretty good most of the time. And usually one of the things that I find upsetting about it is the ads. You know, it's all for I've fallen and I can't get up. And it's about the chairs you're going to take when you're like 85 to get up the stairs. And it's depressing. The ads of the debate night were about movies, and they were about, you know, the 25, 54 demographic type stuff. Yes, exactly. So you thought, this is fantastic. Finally, CNN is making some big money. But I think it's great that 23 million people watch. But I'm not sure it's because of the razzmatazz. We'll see how Hillary...
Not because of the hype, but because of Donald Trump.
I think it might have something to do with Donald.
I think you're dead on. I mean, one of our cameramen here who's not actually shooting tonight's show has argued, and I think he's dead on, that we've spent the last decade and a half watching reality shows here in the country, and Trump has fared so well because he's turned the Republican nominating contest into a reality show. I think that nails it. I don't even think we'd have that ridiculous plane in the background if Donald Trump were... What was up with the plane? It was weird, right?
Reagan's plane.
I don't know.
We've seen that before in previous campaigns.
Wait, there have been planes in previous debates?
Yes.
I've never seen it either.
Okay, I'm glad that I'm not the only one.
You know, my feeling, I agree. I think it was all Trump. And I think this might have been the last of the big ratings debates because this was not nearly as entertaining as the Fox debate. I thought the Fox moderators were much better, at really sticking it to the candidates and really prodding them in a way that CNN didn't. You know, Jake Tapper's very good. I suspect his hands were tied to some extent, but I just didn't think it lived up to the hype, and I think we're going to start to see the ratings go down with subsequent debates.
Well, in the ads leading up to this debate, they were positing it as a fight. Come and watch and see if Trump is going to knock out so-and-so. This was all leading up to the debate. By the way, they've been running that clock now for a couple of years. But I'm just saying it didn't have that much impact as it did this go-round because of all of the environment around them. And they determined from the beginning in the way that those questions were asked, and I agree with everybody here, that was just bad. I mean, you just really didn't get any answers that were substantive. You got some good exchanges from candidates that grabbed the spotlight, and good for them to make their points, but everybody else got left out.
You know, I'm kind of curious what went on in the executive discussions about the commercialization of this, because I can remember when we did debates at Channel 5, and of course they're going to be commercial here on WGBH, but it wasn't even, it was not a consideration. First of all, you didn't want to have anything that was commercial that could have anything to do with anything that they were discussing, because it might look like an endorsement one way or another. You're always very shy about any kind of airline ads or anything like that. So you wanted to have the commercials as far away as possible as you
So, I mean, what kind of discussions have gone on?
Here's how the discussion went. Fox got a whole lot of eyeballs with commercials. Let's have some commercials. That's what happened.
We need the money.
And we've seen commercials on the primary debates on cable the last few cycles.
Yeah.
We won't see them during the final debate.
Yeah.
Or
Those
will
are
we?
put on by the
I got to say, by the way,
will we?
I was really ambivalent about. I didn't like Jake Tapper's relentless focus on Trump. It was bugging me. The whole, what do you think about what Trump said about X? Donald Trump, what do you think about what he said? He thinks about what you said.
Yeah.
It was driving me insane, and yet it did elicit, for example, that exchange with Carly Fiorina where she said women everywhere got his comments, and he had that lame, she's a beautiful woman, and there were just crickets in the audience. So weirdly, their decision to turn it into sort of a verbal boxing match may have done voters a service and may have sort of problematized Trump's candidacy in a way that something more substantive wouldn't have.
They did end up milking it, putting that extra hour on. That was just out and out.
Oh, it was horrible. I couldn't watch it.
And that's because of the commercials.
Yeah, we needed more commercial space.